All right, what's up? I have a new Chippewa boot, and I wanted to compare it to my Danners. I've had these Danners for 4 years. I got these for $100 on Poshmark. New with tags. The guy that bought them couldn't return them or something, so I got them for $100, brand spanking new. These are worth, these right now, if you go buy them, they're $225, which is a lot of money for not a lot of boot. It's like it's 2 mils or less for the leather. It's really thin, like just enough leather for a work boot. The tongue on these suck. The tongues are really thin, maybe 1.5 mils. Insole is not bad. These have been super comfortable. I just work 40 hours a week, but I just switched to 410, so I'm doing 10-hour days, and these Danners are not holding up. My knees are barking at the 9th or 10th hour of the day. But these are unlined. I would recommend getting an unlined boot. Unless you work outside in cold environments, you do not need a lined boot. A lined boot, usually cheap boots are lined to cover up any imperfections or cheap leather or anything like that. Danners are like partially lined down at the bottom. And I've only torn through a little bit. After 4 years of wearing these, I've only torn through a bit of that fabric down there. It's like a sock liner. But they've been pretty good. I work on painted floors, so it's not like there's a ton of wear on them. I would not buy these again for $225. I might buy them again for $100 if I could find a deal on them on Poshmark or something of the sort. But these came up on Sierra Trading Post as factory seconds for $100, free shipping. And I thought, you know what? I'll order it. I'll try them out, see how they are. In worst case, I just return them. But these are 360-degree Goodyear welted. It is a synthetic welt, which, you know, at some point those can fail, but I don't see it being a big deal. But the Goodyear welting is a big deal, and it's a reinforced toe, so there's double stitching. They send a needle through all of this to attach this, so that's some pretty heavy-duty stuff. These are unlined. Has a dedicated counter cover back here where your heel hits, which is nice. The insole is very comfortable. It's a nice cushiony memory foam type insole. There's a partial sock liner up where your toes go. You can see that white there. Feeling that, I think it'll hold up pretty well. And that is all stitched in. That sock liner is all stitched in. There's triple stitching going here, which is a good thing. There's triple stitch going here and then all the way back here, which is a good thing. Red Wings do the triple stitching in that area. But for $100, and I think you can get these for $175 or $170 brand new from Chippewa, I think they're worth it. They're made in China. Danners are assembled in the United States with foreign parts. These are just made in China with foreign parts. Like, I don't, you know, like, this is not that, like, and this is not a better boot. Because this is made here, assembled here, does not mean it's a better boot than this. I'm willing to bet these will last me longer than these Danners. I could take these to a cobbler at some point and put new soles and have them refresh it, but these are just infused with brake dust and brake oil or brake fluid. I work on brake dynamometers. I did not get these with a steel toe because everything I work on, if you have a steel toe, if something falls, it's either going to crush the steel toe and chop your toes off, or if you don't have a steel toe, it's going to flatten your feet. So, like, pick your poison. Now on the other end of the spectrum, so these are cheap boots. These are slightly more expensive. And then these are top dog. These are Jim Green's, some of the best boots in the world for the dollar. I think these are like 200 and some change, and ultra heavy duty. This last is all one piece here, which is super nice. And these are, I think it's 2 mil thick or a little over 2 mils thick on this outer leather here. And then there's 1.2 mil thick lining leather, calfskin leather, I believe. with a dedicated leather counter. This has a dedicated counter cover, but I don't think it's leather. I can't tell what it is, but it's synthetic. But this feels like it'll hold up, that counter cover. These are heavy duty boots, and I bought these 2 years ago, and I only wear them in the winter and the fall, maybe early spring. I don't wear them for work. I don't wear them for yard work much. I've hiked in them a little bit, but they're not broken in yet. Normally I throw these on for any type of work, yard work, my job. Maybe not going wheeling because they're not waterproof. Neither are these. I don't work outside, so I don't do a waterproof boot. A waterproof boot is not good if you work indoors because they don't breathe. They do not breathe at all. But I will say, go to Sierra Trading Post, pick up a pair of these for $100. Free shipping. You can return it if you don't like it. I would recommend going down. I usually go for a wide boot, an EE. I might go down half a size for these. These are kind of a long boot. They're, I don't know, just a hair. Oh, maybe not. It appears to be longer. I don't know why. Just the way it, I'm not sure. It feels like it's longer. But I would almost go down to a 9.5 wide, even though these are 10s and these are 10s. These are a really wide toe box, these Jim Greens. But if you want the best boot that's going to last you well over a year, and then you can get these resold, you can get Danners resold. These are cheap boots, but you can get these resold because they're Goodyear welted. These are stitched down and these are stitched down. And most cobblers will do either one for around $100. I think some places you can find it for 80. It does have a pull tab, which I like. The Danners do not have a pull tab, which is rather annoying. And my little fingers fit in there. I'm not a very big guy. And then the Jim Greens have a nice big pull tab, so you can get sausages in there. But this has enough I will say this. One of these boots has enough leather to make one of these Danners. Easy. Like, you could deconstruct this and deconstruct this one boot and make 2 pairs of Danners, I swear. There is so much leather packed into these boots, it's insane. So go check out Jim Green if you want to spend a little bit more money and get a super high value boot. Everything's sourced in South Africa because of tariffs and taxes and everything. It's just cheaper for them to source everything in South Africa, which is pretty cool. Danners, $225. It's just assembled in the United States with foreign parts, which is a big whoop. Like, it's not like Origin boots where every last part of their boot is sourced in the United States, but those are $325 boots. So pick your, for $100, this is a really solid boot. I just went for a walk in them around the block, 2 blocks to walk the dog, and they felt pretty comfortable. I know they'll break in a 40 hours, maybe 80 hours, they'll be broken in. And a thing I should mention, this panel here is stitched over this leather here and here. It's not like this leather comes in and is stitched here to here. This leather goes all the way through, and then you have this heel piece here on the back that goes over, which is nice. Same with, that's why these are so thick. You have leather here, then this leather is stacked on top of there, and then you have the heel counter on the back, which is stacked on top of all that. So it's very, very stiff back there. You are in the engine bay of my Jeep because the kids in the house are making a ruckus. So I have not broken any of these in yet. I have not worn them enough to break them in, but I bet you it would take a month straight of wearing them to work to maybe break them in. But I'm going to take these in the house. I'm going to put some mink oil on them and to help the break-in process and just help preserve these boots. For reference, I clean these boots every 6 months, scrub them down with Dawn dish soap to get a lot of that oil out, and then I do saddle soap. And and scrub them down, clean them up. And then once they're dry, mink oil them, and then I take a lighter and I go across all of the stitching and clean up any of the frays that are going on. So this far, these boots seem very solid for $100. I would absolutely recommend going to Sierra Trading Post. Right now it's New Year's Eve, so of 2024. So if you see this video 3 weeks from now, that deal's probably over. But either way, I would pay $170 for these boots. $170, I would pay it. For a couple more bucks, you could get these. But these are heavy. There's a substantial difference here. There's a lot of leather in these boots. But let me know if you have any questions. I'm no Rose Anvil, but Rose Anvil hadn't done a video on this, and not a lot of people have done videos on this. So, oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. These are 2 mils or less thick, this leather. These are a hair over 2 mils. This right here, there's like 3.5 mils of leather between the outer leather and the lining leather. So there's a ton of leather here. But that's all I have for right now. This is just my knowledge based on the boots I've owned. I started with some cheap like Caterpillar boots. Mind you, some of those are Goodyear welted. So if you're wondering why, oh, my Caterpillar boots are lasting forever, it's because they're Goodyear welted. So Happy New Year, and just let me know if you have any questions.